Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Man, it was a good night last night. Great game last night between the Eagles and Dallas. It was a really good game. It was an exciting game too. It was it's pretty wild to start off the game after the kickoff. It was something special. Um, Before we get into everything today, um, again, welcome back to the channel. And if you like the channel, if you like the content so far, last episode, we did a recap on college football, and we did a preview of the game that happened last night. So if you like the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, comment, hit the bell notification, know when I'm out to upload a new video and everything like that. Greatly appreciate it. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do nothing. just support the channel if you can, if you want to, if you like the content, support. That's all. But yeah, it was a fun game last night. It was crazy. The first play of the game, basically Carter, if y'all didn't notice already, Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman for the Eagles, basically spit on Dak Prescott, which I was in shock at first. I was sitting watching the game. They threw a flag. Didn't know what the flag was about. It was after the kickoff. Another Eagles player got hurt. Went back to the locker room. I think his number was 83. Sorry for not knowing his name. And it was when I found out. Then even the announcer couldn't believe it. One of the announcers. I was like, I think it was Mike Tirico. It was. They said that Jalen Carter got unsportsmanlike conduct and got kicked out the game. And I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. Then I saw the replay and I was like, what? That was crazy, right? I couldn't believe, there had to be something. I'm like, I couldn't believe he would do that. And I'm like, there must be something. I didn't know if he said anything or what. I'm like, that's crazy. You don't do that. But then later on, when there was a weather delay, okay, Dak Prescott did something unbelievable I never seen him do. He sat there and walked towards the Eagles. There were two offensive linemen that stopped him. He was walking towards the defensive line, towards the Eagles, and was spitting towards the area they were at. And then looked up at Jalen Carter and smiled and I think winked at him or something. Like he meant to do that on purpose towards them. I just couldn't believe it. And I was shocked that the ref didn't originally see Dak do that. The Cowboys are really lucky because he probably should have been thrown out the game. So I was just shocked. I couldn't. But hey, that's what happens in rivalries, man. There's some wild stuff that happens in those games. I knew it was gonna be crazy though. I definitely knew it was gonna be wild and interesting early, and it started off early. Jalen Carter was out the game. Michael Parsons was already traded. Okay, the Eagles had a lot of players, like 10 different players, that were either injured or I think they were off the defense. And then there was a few injuries. Jalen Carter was out the game, getting kicked out. So, the defense was reeling a little bit. The Cowboys had a great start, man. Did a good job running up the middle, making plays running up the middle, attacking that defense. Up the middle running. And then they did a good job in the pass game a little bit too. CeeDee Lamb had a great game in terms of yards and getting some completions. But overall, the Cowboys were looking solid offensively, especially in the first half. That first half was great. The Eagles did too. It's like both teams were scoring at a high level. Jalen Hurts was just magical too. Jalen Hurts was flat out magical. He was accurate with the football, made all the right reads. They didn't even contain him, but that was part of the problem with not having Michael Parsons with Dallas. They could not get to the quarterback most of the time. They had a hard time getting to him. It was just an issue, especially in that first half, man. Jalen Hurts was balling in that first half, right? Getting to rushing touchdowns, making key clutch passes, key clutch decisions. Now, the Dallas Cowboys did do a good job of containing the run game as much as possible. I know they gave up 160 yards, but it could have been worse because, Saquon Barkley only had 60 of those yards. They did a good job on Saquon Barkley. The Eagles had another running back, I believe, that had 62 rushing yards. But overall, I think the Cowboys didn't do a bad job stopping the run considering the fact that when you have Saquon Barkley, man, you could give up almost about between 200 and 300 yards easily, right? Um, I thought the Eagles defense bowed up in certain situations. Like they forced a fumble after halftime. They forced a fumble before the weather delay. They forced a fumble against the Cowboys. Dak Prescott made a clutch play because that was probably going to be a touchdown. Dak Prescott stopped it right from happening by going after the tackle. Right, going to tackle the defender that recovered the fumble. I was shot. The Cowboys running back fumbled the ball. He can't fumble there. It was where they were in field goal range in the red zone. Just a bad play for the running back. But overall, it was first half was amazing. The first half was flat out amazing. Dak Prescott to me had a great game too. He was really good. He looked like the Dak Prescott before the injuries and stuff like that. He looked like that Dak Prescott that was mobile, getting out the pocket, made throws, didn't take tackles, didn't take sacks and stuff like that. Last year was hard for him. He was recovering from an injury. Before he ended up missing 9 games, right? And stuff like that. So he was having a tough time being mobile, getting out the pocket, not taking sacks and stuff like that. He broke a lot of good tackles and made a lot of good throws. The second half, after the weather delay and stuff like that from Lightning, another problem is the offenses didn't live up to what they did in the first half. They were struggling a little bit in the second half. The defense got settled in, really good on both sides. But there was some things that the Cowboys did. They could have won the game, but there were some things that Dallas did in the second half, mostly from CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had key drops really all game, and it really was like in the fourth quarter. I mean, I counted 4 drops. Some people they're going to say 3 to 4. I saw 4 drops, I believe, from CeeDee Lamb. I'm just going to be completely honest. I saw 4 drops from CeeDee Lamb. Just being dead serious. I was shocked. That is a receiver that is in the conversation of being one of the best receivers in the game. Like with the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases. And in the big moments of the game, he dropped 2 passes in the fourth that could have helped them win the game. It was unbelievable. One, it was he was open, he had a catch, right? It hit him straight in the chest. And it bounced off of him. And that was almost a pick. There was another before the other dropping I mentioned the other drop in that fourth quarter. There was another drop he had in the game where that was almost a pick. Because he dropped it and it bounced up and they almost picked it. So there was like 2 drops he had that almost led to interceptions. The other drop, I heard Shannon Sharp say this. CeeDee Lamb dived for the ball, okay, and he dropped that one too. And he really probably didn't even have to dive for that ball, to be honest with you. He probably didn't have to dive for that ball. Okay, that was a ball that he could have probably ran under. Now I've played tight end receiver in high school, and during Pee Wee days and stuff, middle school stuff like that. And some catches you probably do have to dive for. I felt like that ball that Dak threw to him was perfect enough to where he could run under it. But if you do remember, if you watched the game, there was a safety coming over, right? So he could have dived to protect himself. That could have happened too. I'm not sure. But again, those are drops that really probably cost them the win, to be honest with you, right? At least it probably cost them at least a field goal to where they could try to get the ball back and be down 1 and then go for the game-winning field goal, right? It basically cost them the win, in my opinion. CeeDee Lamb's drops, especially in that fourth quarter, down on that drive alone, that last drive they had the ball before the Eagles got the ball back, were flat-out drops. It was shocking to me, right? There was some key plays in the game that those were key plays right there. There were other plays that happened, like some of the new taunting rules. I think are a little goofy, right? And I'm not saying you should be standing over players, but there was some taunting calls. I wasn't a big fan of, but other than that, it was a good game, right? It was a good game. Both teams got away with some different things. I was like, what? Had some penalties that I was like, I don't know about those, but they evened themselves out overall. I feel like um, the Eagles and the Cowboys defense settled in and they had solid games, especially in that second half. But the Cowboys could have won the game. But I think it's going to kind of be like that throughout the year. I think the Cowboys are going to really miss Micah. They're already missing him now. Not getting as much pressure on the quarterback as much as they would like. Guys like Jalen Hurts are going to eat that up. Be mobile. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, breaking contain, running the ball, getting a whole bunch of rushing yards and stuff like that. That's going to happen. Micah Parsons, you need people like Micah Parsons. This game proved that to me. You need people like Micah Parsons on that team who can get to the quarterback. Because arguably the quarterback position is most likely the most important position, right? Now you got the offensive line and the defensive line. You need that offensive line to shore up so you can do different things. You definitely need that, in my opinion. First, you need those foundations of offensive line and defensive line. You need a quarterback on offense. You need the quarterback on offense, and you need a quarterback type player on the defensive end as well. Either you do a safety or a middle linebacker, whatever, whoever calls plays, whoever gets people in the best positions. But you need the quarterback. That is key. You need the quarterback, right? And then you also need a player, whether it's on the defensive line, whether it's on the linebacking room, or whether it's safeties or corner. You need people who can get to the quarterback. You need players who get to the quarterback and get him down and cause problems for him, okay? And they had that, right? Now, the problem with that, they couldn't pay everybody, I guess. Whatever excuse they wanted to make about that, really. But you need that, and they had it, and they don't have it right now. They need to probably draft that at some point in these next 2 drafts that they have, okay? But not having a player who can get to the quarterback, they're going to have an issue with that all year, all right? They got to play against the Russell Wilsons. They got to play against Jaden Daniels. You know, they're going to play other mobile quarterbacks who can run, who can throw the ball with accuracy and stuff like that. Just in that division alone. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, they saw that. You still, in their division, they got Jaden Daniels and Russell Wilson as starting quarterbacks. One for the Giants, one for the Commanders. They're going to have issues containing the quarterback. They really do. They're going to have a lot of issues containing the quarterback. They're going to have issues getting to the quarterback. I think the Eagles, their defense dealt with a lot of injuries, dealing with people not being there, whether through maybe going to other teams and stuff like that. That's what, too, happens when you on defense. Your offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, left. Now, he's the head coach for the Saints. But he was a great offensive coordinator, great at calling plays. Has been having great offense for most of his time as an offensive coordinator. He was at Boise State, was a legend at Boise State at quarterback. So he knows what he's doing. So, and he's played in the NFL too. So you lose him too. So you're going to lose some players too. Maybe on offense and defense, have people retire, stuff like that. They're the youngest defense overall in the NFL, under 25 years old. So I think they'll get better for sure. I think, and players coming back from injury, they're going to get better. I do believe that. But, they got to make sure they stop the run. And having Jalen Carter in that game would definitely help that too. So, he's not going to, unless he gets hurt or something crazy, he's not going to really, he's going to be back and not miss a whole bunch of time. So he'll be fine. I thought, again, the Cowboys and the Eagles, that game was fun. That game was entertaining for me. That game was a good game. I suggest watching it, man. It was great. I know most people already did watch it. For people who don't, who haven't recorded, y'all should watch that game. That was a great game. The Cowboys are I think they're gonna have a little bit of a rough year this year. It's gonna be a little rough. And I think the Eagles, man, I think they're gonna get better, and get better and stuff like that. The Cowboys, to me, the way they can win games, the way they can be competitive in games is they score. All right. I don't know if their defense is gonna be the greatest overall throughout most of the game. Of course, I think they're going to have splashes. I think every defense, even the worst defenses, have some definitely splash plays, different people that do different things. Trust me, right? The Cincinnati Bengals defense was horrendous, was flat out horrendous. But they had Hutchinson on defense who got sacks and was balling. So you're going to have, some great moments, but the Cowboys are going to have a hard time stopping people. So they're going to have to score as much as they can for as long as they can. and hopefully they don't get tired out. George Pickens made some clutch catches too. George Pickens made some clutch catches, some big time catches. You know what I mean? He a beast. All right, they a smart move trading for him. He's a beast. Okay, he's a flat out beast. You know, they have good receiving cores. The offense, I believe, for Dallas is going to be fine. Right, they're going to be perfectly fine. The offensive line is blocking enough real well. They did have some pressure, but that got out of that pressure. But they do got to make sure they shore up that offensive line as much as they can. Make sure they block as best they can. They did use a lot of draft capital in the offensive line, so I think the Cowboys' offense is going to be fine. It's just the defense. The defense is going to have a rough time, and I think the Eagles are going to be fine too. They're going to get older. They're going to get more experience. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be a Super Bowl type team. They'll be cool, right? I'm not worried about the Eagles too much. You know, especially when you have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. They'll be fine. Jalen Carter, probably the best player on that defense. Nolan Smith Jr., who had the taunting penalty. Yeah, he's gonna be great too. You already know he's a beast. So which I thought that taunting penalty was I don't know. But I understand it. It happens in college too. They barely call it. People be standing over people talking. It's part of the game. So, but I understand it. I understand calling it now, right? But I don't know. I played in a time where they did that all the time, and it wasn't really no big deal. But yeah, I think the Eagles are going to be good. They're going to be great. I think they're going to win the division for sure. They're going to do it. The NFC East, they're going to win the NFC East. So yeah, I think they're going to be good. Another game that's going to come on today. All right. I also believe this game is going to be fun. Now, hopefully there's no weather delays in this game. Okay, down in California, LA, right? The Chargers versus the Chiefs. All right, come on, man. I gotta explain it anymore. Like, you got, Justin Herbert, right? You got a great receiver. You got a great talent there with the offensive line being short up and strong. But Justin Herbert is gonna make the plays, man. And you got the Chiefs with Kelsey, right? Patrick Mahomes, man. Their receiving core is healthier too. They had some injuries in the receiving core a little bit. Some great players who got hurt, stuff like that. So they got some great receivers who are going to be healthy. The coaching staff, Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches ever, Hall of Famer. That's going to be a great game, guys. It's going to be a great game in the Chargers Stadium, right? I'm looking forward to seeing if the Chargers can make that step and try to win the division. Because this division's up for grabs, really, because the Chiefs are a real good team, but the other teams got better. The Raiders got better a little bit. They got Geno Smith. They got Genty, who was the Heisman runner-up. Okay. Travis Hunter ended up winning that trophy. So it's gonna be a good team. It's gonna be a real good team. They got better for sure. They got better. And then also Denver got better, right? They were in the playoffs. They got better. Got talent. Bo Nix is a really good player. He started off, filling his way out last year, right? Started off, a little rough, whatever. But then he started picking it up and he started cooking. He started taking off as a quarterback. He just started taking off. But they got better, right? They got better. They're a better team now. The Chargers, they're a better team too, as well. Second year under Jim Harbaugh. Great legendary coach, won championship in Michigan as the head coach. Been a great quarterback. Got drafted in the first round. I think a top 10 pick, I believe. So he knows the quarterback position. He knows how to motivate the quarterbacks. He knows how to get the best out of a quarterback. He's coached, okay? Flat out. Coached a lot of legends, a lot of great players. Andrew Luck, Colin Kaepernick, Alex Smith, right? Justin Herbert, J.J. McCarthy, who's with the Vikings, who's going to be good with the Vikings. And for me, definitely believe that so trust me, this is going to be a fun division, right? So the Chiefs are going to be in battles with those three teams that are going to, especially on the road, man. And it starts here. So I want to see if the Chargers take that step, right? I definitely want to see if the Chargers take that step. So I definitely think the Chargers can. Now they got to win, this game to be in process of it, because it's hard to win in Arrowhead. It's hard to win in the Charger Stadium. I mean, in the Chiefs Stadium. Now the Chiefs, could you beat the Chiefs? Yeah, you could do it in that stadium, but it's hard to do it, right? It's hard to do it. So this game, I know it's early, right? But it's definitely a good, important game to see where the Chargers are at, to see if they take that step. But it's going to be a fun game. It's on YouTube for free, right? If you have a YouTube account, it's for free. I have YouTube. I have YouTube Premium, right? So they probably still will have commercials. If you have YouTube Premium, they probably going to show the commercials within the video, right? Within the YouTube, they got to get the commercial ads. I get that. You know what I mean? They got to get that money. So I get it. I know people ain't fan of commercials. I ain't either. I hate the commercials. That's why I did YouTube Premium, so I can get away from the commercials. But I understand it. So, it's going to be a fun game, right? It's free. If you got a YouTube account, watch it. It's going to be a fun game, man. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a real fun game. In the next video, we're going to do the recap of the Chargers and Chiefs game, right? And then we're also going to talk about the preview and all that to all the college football games happening. All right, it's going to be a good video, man. We're going to talk about college football all full day Saturday, stuff like that. It's going to be a fun day, okay, on Saturday, right? And then the NFL season's around the corner too. Sunday, man, going to be more games on Sunday. Okay, going to be more games on Sunday than another one game on Monday. It is going to be a fun year, like I said in the last video. It's going to be a fun football season. It's going to be a fun football year for sure. So I'm pretty excited for it. And it's going to be a great time, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It wasn't as long as the other one, almost an hour. But it was a little less to talk about today. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all love the channel so far, right? This is the second episode. And y'all have a great day, man. Appreciate y'all for sure.